July 4, 1946. Biskupia Górka Hill near Gdansk, Poland. The sun beats down on 200,000 people packed onto a hillside. They've been given the day off work. Free transport to this location. All to witness one thing. 11 open trucks back slowly toward gallows. On each truck platform stands a condemned prisoner. Hands tied, legs bound, nooses wait. These are not ordinary criminals. These are Stutthof concentration camp guards. Women who beat children to death with their bare hands. Men who gassed thousands. They tortured. They murdered. They showed no mercy. And in minutes, 200,000 people will watch them strangle slowly for 10 to 20 agonizing minutes each. This mass execution will be photographed, documented, remembered as a theater of horror. But how did 5 women and 6 men end up facing public execution in front of the largest crowd Poland had ever assembled for such an event? What did they do at Stutthof? And why did their deaths take so long? Before we go further, understand this. What you're about to hear isn't revenge fantasy. This is documented history. Trial records, execution photographs, witness testimonies from survivors and spectators. Stutthof was the first Nazi concentration camp established outside German borders. Over 60,000 people died there. The guards responsible faced justice. And that justice was public, brutal, and deliberate. If we don't share these stories, we forget that accountability is possible even for the worst crimes. So hit subscribe, make sure these lessons stay loud. The story begins September 1st, 1939. Nazi Germany invaded Poland. World War II erupted. After defeating the Polish army within weeks, Germans ruthlessly suppressed the Poles, considered them racially inferior, subhuman. In the weeks following the invasion, SS units, police, and military shot thousands of Polish civilians. Members of the nobility, clergy, intelligentsia, teachers, doctors, anyone who might lead resistance. The Nazis sought to destroy Polish culture entirely, eliminate the Polish nation, arrest and murder anyone who might oppose them. Poland would become an endless supply of slave labor, a site for mass extermination of European Jewry. Nothing more. September 2nd, 1939, just one day after invasion. The Nazis established Stutthof, the first German concentration camp outside German borders in World War II. Located in a wooded area west of Stutthof town, about 22 miles east of Danzig. Today's Gdansk, the original camp was surrounded by barbed wire fences, 8 barracks for inmates. Built by prisoners themselves in 1940, the camp served the ethnic cleansing project, liquidation of Polish elites, intelligentsia, religious leaders, political opponents. Even before the war, Germans had created arrest lists. Nazi authorities secretly reviewed suitable places for concentration camps. Stutthof was ready before most Poles knew what was coming. Originally, Stutthof operated as a civilian internment camp under the Danzig police chief, but it expanded rapidly, massively. In November 1941, it became a labor education camp. Political prisoners, those accused of violating labor discipline, administered by the SD German security police. Finally, in January 1942, Stutthof became a regular concentration camp, under SS jurisdiction. In 1943, the camp was enlarged. A new camp constructed alongside the old one contained 30 new barracks, surrounded by electrified barbed wire fences. A crematorium and gas chamber were added in 1943, just in time. June 1944. Stutthof was included in the final solution. The gas chamber's maximum capacity was 150 people per execution. Eventually, the Stutthof system became a vast network. 105 subcamps established throughout northern and central German-occupied Poland. Tens of thousands deported. Perhaps 100,000 total. Prisoners were mainly non-Jewish Poles initially. Conditions were brutal beyond description. Many died in typhus epidemics. Winter 1942. Again in 1944. Those judged too weak or sick to work were gassed. Gassing with Zyklon B began June 1944. 4,000 prisoners killed before evacuation, including Jewish women and children. Camp doctors also killed sick or injured prisoners with lethal phenol injections. More than 60,000 people died in Stutthof and its subcamps. Until 1942, nearly all prisoners were Polish. The number increased dramatically in 1944, Jews forming a significant proportion. July 1944. First contingent of 2,500 Jewish prisoners arrived from Auschwitz. In total, 23,566 Jews transferred to Stutthof from Auschwitz, including 21,817 women. Camp staff consisted of SS Guards. After 1943, Ukrainian auxiliaries. Music, June 1944. The SS began conscripting women from Danzig and surrounding cities, training them as camp guards. Severe shortage of personnel. The women's subcamp Bromberg Ost had been established in Bydgoszcz. More guards were desperately needed. These women would become some of the most brutal guards in the entire camp system. January 1945. Evacuation of prisoners began. When final evacuation started, nearly 50,000 prisoners remained in the system. Overwhelming majority were Jews. About 5,000 prisoners from subcamps were marched to the Baltic Sea coast, forced into the water, machine-gunned. The rest marched toward Lauenburg in eastern Germany, but Soviet forces cut them off. Germans forced surviving prisoners back to Stutthof, marching in severe winter conditions. Treated brutally by SS Guards, thousands died during the march. Late April 1945. Remaining prisoners were removed by sea. Stutthof was completely encircled by Soviet forces. Again, hundreds of prisoners were forced into the sea. Shot. Over 25,000 prisoners died during evacuation. 1 in 2. May 9th, 1945. Soviet forces liberated Stutthof. Found only about 100 prisoners. They'd managed to hide during final evacuation. Altogether, 100,000 prisoners passed through Stutthof. 60,000 perished. Another 22,000 transferred to other camps. After the war, justice came swiftly. April 25th, 1946. The first Stutthof trial began. Among the accused were 5 women whose brutality had become legendary among survivors. Wanda Barkmann, a guard who brutalized prisoners, known for beating inmates to death, either with bare hands or with her whip. Among her victims were children, small bodies beaten until they stopped moving. During the trial, Barkmann wasn't worried about her life. She was concerned about her appearance. Wore stylish clothes, different hairstyle every day, reportedly flirted with prison guards, as if this were a fashion show rather than a trial for mass murder. Wanda Klaff became infamous for brutal treatment of prisoners, beat and kicked them without reason, until they lay still. When in a particularly bad mood, she drowned female inmates in mud, or clubbed them to death. During the trial, she said something remarkable. "I am very intelligent, and I was very devoted to my work in the camps. I struck at least 2 prisoners every day." She was probably the only one who thought that statement demonstrated intelligence. Elisabeth Becker, known as a ruthless overseer, brutalized prisoners constantly, would beat children alongside their mothers, then select them both to be sent to the gas chamber, killed without any remorse. Families destroyed for her convenience. Ewa parodies. In freezing winter, she often ordered groups of female prisoners to undress, stand in the snow, naked, then poured cold water on them. When they moved from the cold, she beat them. Systematic torture for entertainment. Gerda Steinhoff, known for beating female inmates to death, including children, also conducted selections of prisoners for gas chambers, decided who lived, who died, based on nothing but whim. Despite serious charges, the women behaved insolently during proceedings, giggling, joking, treating their trial as entertainment. May 31st, 1946. The trial ended. 11 defendants convicted of crimes against humanity, sentenced to death by hanging. Among them, the 5 women mentioned above. 4 cried and pleaded for their lives. Only Wanda Barkmann remained calm. Their execution would be held publicly, would become a theater of horror, recorded by official press photographers. Music. After World War II, only 3 public executions of war criminals were carried out in Poland. One took place at Biskupia Górka Hill near Gdansk, July 4th, 1946. 11 Nazi criminals from Stutthof hanged from gallows. 200,000 people watched. Biskupia Górka Hill experienced a real siege that day. 3 days earlier, newspapers reported the execution date. Workplaces announced a day off, provided employees with transport to the event. Everyone could come, witness justice. Security forces feared lynching might occur. Militia and army had difficulty controlling the huge crowd. The 4th of July was very warm. Sun shining. Punctually at 5 p.m., 11 open trucks brought prisoners to the execution ground, hands and legs tied with cords. On each truck platform stood a convict. 6 men, 5 women. The trucks backed under the gallows, the condemned made to stand on tailboards, or on chairs where they'd been sitting. Former Stutthof prisoners, dressed in striped uniforms, had volunteered as executioners. They put simple cord nooses around the convicts' necks. The execution was planned deliberately. After each truck drove forward, the convict would be left suspended. Bodies would not fall from great height. This was intentional. The nooses would not break their necks, would not cause instant death. This short drop method resulted in torturous death by strangulation. Each criminal would strangle for 10 to 20 agonizing minutes. The first truck carried Johann Pauls, former commandant of Gards in Stutthof. The driver started the engine, moved slowly forward. Pauls, before sliding off the platform, managed to shout one final thing. "Heil Hitler!" He was answered by the insults of the crowd, jeers, hatred. As Paul's body went still, another truck started moving. Another criminal began what spectators described as a rope dance. Legs kicking, body twisting, fighting for air that wouldn't come. As each truck moved forward, the other convicts watched, saw exactly what awaited them in the next few moments. How does it feel to watch 9 people die slowly before your own turn comes? When one truck driver failed to start the engine several times, a former Stutthof prisoner took matters into his own hands, pushed the convict off the platform manually. The crowd waved, shouted, "For our husbands, for our children." After the last convict died, security forces allowed the crowd to approach the gallows. People ripped off buttons, cut pieces of fabric, kicked the corpses, smashed them. The gathered people were then chased away, bodies removed from the gallows. After the execution, rumors spread. Wanda Barkmann's body was cremated, her ashes taken to Hamburg, dumped into the toilet of the apartment where she'd been born. It wasn't true. Instead, the bodies were taken to Medical University of Gdansk, used as teaching aids in anatomy classes. There were no tears shed for Stutthof's torturers. The public execution of the Stutthof Guards remains one of the most documented examples of post-war justice. Photographs captured every moment. The trucks backing under gallows, the nooses being placed, the bodies hanging, the crowd's reaction. Official press photographers ensured the world would see. Today, those photographs exist in archives, museums, historical collections. Stark reminders of accountability. This isn't ancient history. This happened 78 years ago. Some Stutthof survivors lived into the 21st century, carried the memories, the scars, the numbers tattooed on their arms. 200,000 Poles gathered on that hill in 1946 weren't there for entertainment. They were there for justice, for closure, for proof that the nightmare was finally over. The lesson is clear. Crimes against humanity have consequences, even when committed under orders, even when committed by those who claim they were just doing their jobs. The Stutthof Guards chose cruelty, chose torture, chose murder. And they paid for those choices in front of 200,000 witnesses. If this story moved you, make sure you subscribe right now. Drop a comment below and let us know your thoughts on public executions as justice for war crimes. Thanks for watching, and please share this video with anyone who values historical accountability. These lessons about the consequences of choosing evil must never be forgotten. These voices must stay loud